Okay, so finally finished my happy marriage, and I gotta say, this was a heck of a story. It was calm, soothing, lovely, and also had a touch of action and shonen in it that I really enjoy. The main protagonist of the story goes with Mio, who comes from a rich ass and well known family, who isn't treated well, and she doesn't supposedly have a supernatural ability. Now, the timeline is set in a period where most people have supernatural abilities, and the elite families usually possesses the most powerful ones. Now, as part of making this video, I'm not sure what era in the in Japanese society it was actually set in, so I gotta probably Google it. And they also marry among top classes so that they can reproduce stronger supernatural abilities, especially between the upper class families. The best part about this anime is that it is a cute romance story with a slight slice of shonen. Generally, I'm not a huge fan of romance animes, and the only few I've watched is actually Kaguya-sama and The Dangers in My Heart, but we'll talk about them later. Initially, it's seen that Mio has a really harsh life, where she's treated as a servant and she does not have any supernatural abilities. It is then seen that she likes Koji, who is the only one to treat her like the real person at the start of the story. Seeing this, her sister decides to ask their father to arrange a marriage with Koji and send Mio to the Kudo family where she is set to marry. Now, in the Kudo family, she is set to marry Kyoka Kudo, who is actually rumored to be a really harsh and cold-hearted person. And Mio's father and even her sister thought that probably she will be disregarded from the family, and then she's probably going to be roaming out in the streets, and then maybe her sister or someone else from the Saimori family is going to be marrying Kudo, and then that's how they're going to obtain the powers of the Kudo family, one of the strongest amongst the society during this timeline of the entire anime. Now, Kyoka might seem like a cold person. He is at the beginning, but little does everyone know that he was actually looking for a perfect wife, as all the previous women that was to be his fiancée seemed to only like him for his money or supernatural ability, as the Kudo family is said to be one of the strongest. Now, after the initial meetup, it seems that Kyoka realizes that there is something different about Mio and doesn't seem to behave like a girl from a rich family. He then dives into her past because he's actually surprised that most girls that are coming from a rich family are usually slightly spoiled. And then Mio kind of acts completely different. She is scared. She kind of apologizes for every single matter, asks for, Kudo's permission every single time. And it kind of surprises him that this shouldn't be the behavior of someone who's treated normally in, a family. Like if you are treated as a servant, or if you are in a very low status between the family, then yes, probably you'll be taking permission. But that's what kind of triggers him that, all right, we gotta dive a little bit deep into this. Now, when he then dives into her past and finds out how poorly she had been treated by her family, Kyoka then goes up front to the Saimori family, and then he's ready for the marriage. Like, he proposes that he's ready, but only if her family apologizes to her up front. Now, initially, Mio's father agrees, but her mother and her younger sister seem to be offended, and so does Koji's father, who is only interested in adopting the Kudo family's supernatural abilities. So they kind of now take the harsh route to kidnap Mio and then force her to marry Koji instead. Now, Koji, on the other hand, understands Mio's feelings because he's probably the one who actually liked him in the beginning, and then rushes to Kyoka, and then the fighting begins. Now, I'm not going to spoil this part for it because it's a really short fight scene. It's mainly a romance anime with, just that touch of that supernatural ability thingy. And we see that Kyoka is way more powerful than Koji's father. Like, I mean, come on, he's like the head of the Kudo family, one of the strongest and whatnot. And the aftermath of the fight almost resulted in the destruction of the Saimori family's house, and then their family's downfall. And then Mio's younger sister was sent off to work as a servant for another family in the city. And then the story kind of shifts. Now, in this initial part of the story, what I think is the most interesting part is, apart from, the side of the part of the romance story, is that the main part is not the fighting itself, but it's a good romance story. We see that Mio tries to develop her character from the very start, and unlike all the typical romance stories where one likes or loves the other, it doesn't really start out that way. Both Kyoka and Mio try to understand each other before they dive into their past. Mio is like, all right, I'm just happy with anyone I'm going to be marrying at this point. And then Kyoka is like, all right, I like this girl, but we need to talk about her past and how she was probably treated before I actually go ahead and proceed to any other kind of marriage proposals or preparation for the marriage. But After this, then Mio has a drastic character development. She kind of opens up to Kyoka and then kind of tells Kyoka about her past and everything. And then she also tells Kyoka that she doesn't have any supernatural abilities. And then Kyoka is like, all right, I don't care about that. I still accept you. I still really like you and I want to marry you, right? Because you're the only girl that kind of I've seen that truly loves my character, my nature, right? Like you really understand what I really am. I'm not that rumored polar person. Rather, like you understand what I am. And then they both are really there for each other. Like it's a really cute couple. And this is like a marriage that you want to happen, right? Like you want to make it happen. The story then shifts to more on Mio's past, and it's found that her mother is actually from a powerful family background, the Utsuba family. And then the story kind of shifts in a different timeline where Mio is actually a pretentious character. And there's someone out there who doesn't want Mio alive. So they kind of go and kind of break something called the grave. And then there are these supernatural creatures known as the grotesques or something like that. I forgot the pronunciation, but I think they're called the grotesques. Then the grave is broken in, and the main target in this case is going to be Mio. And then I think they're targeting Mio through her husband, Kudo, because again, he is the commander in chain of the Kudo family and that army thingy, and they're probably going to fight it. So now Mio is found to have a supernatural ability known as a dream sight, and that's what they're after, probably. Like, we still don't know that yet. And then the Utsuwa family, Mio's cousin, kind of goes into the quest of finding her, and then Mio starts to have these nightmares where it makes Kyoka concerned. But again, Mio is like, I don't want to bother my husband who's working day and night, coming home like once a week or probably like that, and then kind of ruin his mood. So she never tells Kyoka about the nightmares that she's having in her sleep. And then after kind of they confront each other, Kudo is like desperate to know that, all right, why aren't you telling me? Like, did I do something wrong in something? And then he kind of shouts it a little bit, and then he kind of goes and realizes, all right, I have done wrong. And then they kind of go back to the Utsuba family to kind of meet, Mio's cousin, right? Like, I forgot his name. I think it was Tsuryu or something like that. I kind of forgot. And then Mio's cousin then tells Kudo that, all right, you're not capable of protecting Mio from the dangers that she's going to be facing from now on because her supernatural ability is starting to grow. And then the Utsuba family has their own barrier around the house and whatnot. And then you kind of you need to stay here in order to kind of stay protected from the outside world. Like that's the task. And then the dream sight ability is like once in a generation, once in a millennium that you're going to be having this ability. So she's pretty special to them. But Mio is like, all right, no, I still want to marry, right? Like I love Kudo at this point, and then I want to marry, where her family doesn't allow it. So Kudo and Mio's cousin kind of have a duel, and then things don't go the way Kudo lost the duel, and then now Mio is forced to kind of live with the Utsuba family. And then Kudo is like, all right, I failed the duel. That means I'm not capable of protecting Mio, right? Like, because I can't kind of go ahead and I can't even fight a normal Utsuba family member, like a human. What am I going to do if she's in danger or she kind of falls in danger? I'm not going to spoil anything beyond this. Like, there's nothing to discuss about it. And now I won't dedicate the entire story beyond this point, but the reason why you should watch this anime is it's a really good story. Like, it's a nice and decent story that, if you're not a fan of romance animes, it has a good, nice shonen kick to it alongside the romance genre. And if you don't like romance animes, then you should really give it a try because, your mind's going to probably change. You're not going to end up liking every single romance anime because, romance animes don't actually work like this. It's more of that love triangle thingy that works in romance animes. Romance anime goes more into that funnier perspective, right? Like, it's a more joyful perspective of anime. But this is very different. It's like a sad story, but with also a good feeling to it, right? Like, it's like Haikyuu. Like, you kind of feel good watching this, and it's a very decent story. Now, it doesn't go to say that the story is perfect, and I'll still give it probably like a 7 out of 10, I guess. Like, if I had to score it out of 10, in my opinion. It's just my opinion. But, this is because it's still a romance anime. The fighting scenes are not like your regular shonen animes, and if you're someone who, like me, who generally isn't a big fan of romance stories, you probably will take it with a grain of salt. But it's definitely not bad. Right? You might not like it at the very first glance, and you might not be that excited for the next seasons as well. Like, for me, it's like I'll watch the second season, but I don't mind if it hypothetically fails to come out. Although a second season was confirmed, like, I'm just saying that if the second season never came out, I probably won't miss it that much. But it's a good anime, and I would like the story to continue. Now, this is adapted from a light novel, if I'm not wrong, so I'm not reading a light novel at this point. If it was a manga, I would probably give it a read, like just to see how the story ends. But yeah, so I would just say that just give it a try. It's a really good anime. I probably spoke the entire story throughout, but I think you should really watch it to kind of get a feel of it. You might not like it initially, but it has really good animation, really good character design, and Mio is cute, right? Like it's pretty cute. But apart from that, I think that this is a really interesting and amazing story, and I think you should probably give it a watch. Like you're really gonna like it, even if you don't like romance animes. And that's pretty much what I gotta say. For the next video, I've planned something about a different anime that I just started watching named Hell's Paradise. Probably we're gonna talk about that. I'm just reading the manga. But till then, see you next time. Peace.